I do want to talk about Tatum because I do think that, at the end of the day, um, you know, you're going to give somebody not all of the credit, a ton of credit for the way he's been playing and the results that they've been getting. He's also going to get lion's share of the blame when he plays this poorly against, prime competition out here out west. And these are back-to-back stinkers for Tatum, where he just looks out of sorts. What's going on here?
Big
What's going
slump.
on with your boy?
Yeah.
Slumping, but again, falling into those bad patterns. What I know, Golden State did the thing like his kryptonite, which is kind of blitz him, throw bodies at him. We're running into the same problems we had last year during Golden State. You remember, Bobby? We were saying get that floater game going, right? Get that little mid range, get that little thing. But I think he's been having a lot of success getting all the way to the rim this year, and he forgot that he spent a great deal of the summer doing what? Working on that floater game, right? Working on the little
Yeah.
in between stuff, trying to get those shots off because he was recognizing that's what's going to happen to him. They're either going to blitz him early when he gets the ball, or if he gets past that first layer of defense, guys are stepping up, they're throwing bodies at him, they're making it tough, and that's that. So that was an area that I thought he had improved on, was to be able to kind of knock down that little floater, stop in the paint, get those shots off before he gets in too deep, gets into awkward, situations. What's been happening? Not only is he missing these shots near the rim, Bubby, but he's also taking himself out of the play, and we're back into those terrible rhythms where a Jason Tatum miss down low ends up with a transition bucket the other way, like 100 out of 100 times now.
Yeah. And they got to be able to work multiple actions to be able to get him back the ball in a good spot. And that's
Yeah,
on him and that's on some other guys. I think Smart and White got to do a better job setting the table on this offense right now, but he's also got to be screening and doing all these little things that this offense was doing. You look at the offense right now, John, it doesn't look like it did earlier in the season. There's not that activity. There's not all that rolling and cutting, a lot of shots early in the clock. Not as much running up the floor and ahead of the defense. That was so key to what they were doing earlier
back
this
to
year. When
back
you
to
talk
back
about the fast break,
bad
yeah. So
habits.
when he has the ball in his hands and the defense is able to load up, it looks hard for him. And there's turnovers and there's bad shots and sometimes even gonna go to the mid range, which isn't his specialty. So this is
Where's
what it's
this?
gonna look
Where's
like.
this? Where's the screening? Where's the cutting? Where did it go?
It was in Brooklyn. Remember, he did a great job within that game, and that's the
Where did
last
that
time we saw it
go?
essentially.
Yeah.
And that's, I think some of the stuff he talked about after the game, fatigue and probably getting a little tired of those habits and just all these shooting explosions that they've had, letting them rest on that. And that's why I think you look at pull up jumpers early in the clock and isolations and some of these easy ways out. It's going to take a lot for them to be great offensively. And they're not going to do
And
it for 82 games. They're not going to break records offensively,
I
probably.
know,
But when
but
they
this
do
is what's
those
always
things, that's how
bothered
good
me.
they are. And when
Yeah.
they don't do those things, this is closer to who they are.
And that's what stinks, is that's what's bothered me about both Tatum and Brown. And in fact, the reason why Brown is oftentimes more effective than Tatum is he's a better difficult shot maker than Tatum is. And that's kind of where Brown gets away with it. But both of them do the same things, which is
That's what we're saying from Brogdon, too.
they're forcing their way into very difficult shots. Brown is just making them at such a ridiculously elite clip. He's the number one guy by a couple percentage points in 2 point, 2 pointers, mid range, kind of mid range, taken 58% on the year, on the worst shot in basketball. And this is now the third straight year that he's done that, where he's just elite at the shot that nobody wants you to take in basketball, which makes it a good shot for him. But he's still almost always working. All of those are not only the tough shot, the long two, the mid range two. They're also all contested, and he just hits them. But Tatum, when he gets into this type of mindset here, he makes it really really hard on himself. He's not getting the easy buckets like he was earlier in the year, and that's where the offense really stagnates here. When they get into that, they're making it harder on themselves by not doing the things that they were doing earlier in the year. And again, ruts are ruts, slumps are slumps. As long as you get out of it, you're fine. But knowing that it's there and seeing that they can revert back to it is the thing that makes me uneasy right now.
Yeah, and didn't we start to see this creeping in at the beginning of the trip? Brooklyn with the mismatch hunting, Toronto a little bit too. They had good games in those settings, but your efficiency slips, your shot quality slips just a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you have nights like these. So this didn't happen overnight in the Warriors game. We started to see this slip into this over the course of a couple of different games. I forget what the last home game was, but Brooklyn's where I start to think like they got caught up a little bit in mismatch hunting. All of a sudden you don't have as many mismatches against a team like the Clippers, and even the Warriors I think do a great job just like flying around defensively and backing up their mismatches. So these are two tough defenses that they're going against. I think the Clippers were 5th or 6th coming into this. The Warriors probably rank low, but we know the level they can play at. They were the number 2 team on that end last year. So they're facing more resistance right now. And tomorrow you're going to run into Anthony Davis and LeBron and a team that's been really good defensively. So even though we don't respect the Lakers, I think they're going to give you a big challenge on a back-to-back as well with no Horford out there. He'll be out again tomorrow.
Yeah, and again, you talk about things that you don't like seeing, like where did good Marcus Smart go? He's been gone the last 2 games. Marcus Smart, who's calming things down, who has the ball in his hands, who's running the offense, not there, not at all, no impact at all. And then Derek White, again, this is the version of Derek White where last year there'd be times where he would play himself off the court, and tonight was one of them. He played himself off the court, and it's just, yeah, you, as I said, is it can happen, but when you see it all happen at once, again, I always use that. You get that PTSD kind of creep in, like, oh, I've seen this. This is ugly. I don't like this version. Like, please don't, like, So I'll ask, I don't know if it's a slump. I don't know if teams are starting to figure the Celtics out and adjust. The book is out after the first 20 games, and they're kind of defending them a little bit differently or doing different things, or it's an approach thing from the Celtics from the Celtics standpoint.
You got to think it's the second, and that doesn't mean everyone's going to be able to do it. Again, the Clippers and Warriors have great personnel and coaching and awareness to know how to do that. But you look across the board right now, Hauser, man, has he come down to earth?
Well, we knew
White,
that was going to happen, sadly.
yeah, White. Teams are forcing it back to Smart and making him a jump shooter. I think that's always a good way to neutralize him. But he's going to be able to,
and to White for that matter too,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
that's the thing is like it doesn't matter what Derek White's current 3-point percentage is. Teams are still going to want that shot over the alternative when he's out there with the starters.
Yeah, so that makes me think that teams are starting to figure out a way to do it. And Steve Kerr even talked about it on Saturday when I asked about it. Like they're really gonna get into bodies, rush you off the line, recover, and get that back line set as well. So there aren't really cutting options for the other team as well. Like you can do a lot when you have the personnel that the Clippers and Warriors have. And again, pretty impressive seeing the Warriors, without Norman Powell, still be able to put Kawhi and George and Marcus Morris and big guards out there who can really compete defensively too. Remember, John Wall in his day could really defend, and Reggie Jackson's a bigger guard. Like they got sort of that Celtics thing going on from 2020, where you just had all these different wings and lanes flying around, and that bothered the Celtics. Again, even offensively, the Clippers put them in foul trouble. Tatum and Brown both said that had a huge impact on them in this one. So you seen things slip. Like, that's not great to hear. Not great to see the offense playing the way it is, and the complaining is back.